Like it.
Don't break it.
I'm Ron Kellerman, past president from the year 2008-2009. It was quite a year, just like we're having a tough year in 2020. 08-09 was the financial meltdown and the Great Recession, and I was in the financial services business then. So a pretty challenging time, but we pulled together as a club, grew our membership, and realized the best way out of things was to help others than to feel sorry for ourselves. And Sue Bloom was on the board at that time, and she chaired our vocational committee and organized a job fair. And I also had the privilege of inducting Holly Berry into our club at that time. So with that, let's get started, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jessica, if you could give us the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and now we're gonna just, before we do our invocation, we'll have a little music like we did in days gone by with Laura Foley at the piano.
All right, so let's sing together. We're gonna go ahead and do Jingle Bells and then Deck the Halls. So if you feel brave, go ahead and unmute yourself. There's no judgment. Just music is all about just making a joyful noise, and it really is only relative how good it may sound. So I'll give a short introduction, and then we can go ahead and get going.
That turned out.
That turned out. It absolutely did. And then we'll go ahead and we'll sing Deck the Halls. And if you didn't unmute your microphone for that first one, you can feel free to do it the second time. So I'll give a short introduction and we'll go ahead and sing Deck the Halls.
Well, let's give ourselves applause. Thank you so much, Laura. Okay, now time for the invocation with Julie Hilty.
Okay, so I know that during Red Kettlebell ringing and holiday adoptions, I wanted to share a little bit of words of inspiration as Rotarians. So please take a moment with me. Somehow it's not only the holidays, but all the long year through, the joy that you give to others is the joy that comes back to you. And the more you spend in blessing the poor and lonely and sad, the more of your heart's possessing returns to make you glad. The holidays are forever, not just one day. For loving, sharing, giving, they are not to be put away. Like bells and lights and tinsel on a shelf, the good you do for others is good you do yourself. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Did you write that?
No, I actually combined two holiday rhymes into one. Just, thinking about what Rotarians do for others and just how good it feels.
Very nice. Well, before we go to the introduction of guests and Rotarians, and speaking of giving and doing for others, I want to call your attention to the chat box where this is our annual Salvation Army Kettlebell fundraiser. And in years past, we'd have Bill Meyer and a couple of other people in Santa hats ringing the bell as you came in. And we had our kettle, we had the Salvation Army playing. Conference Center always made us a nice extra fancy meal. I don't know what we did last year because I wasn't here, but the year I was president, we raised $7,500 in one day. Now that was 12 years ago, and certainly our needs are far greater now than they were back then. So if you have a minute, click on that link that's in the chat box and make your donation. Then at the end of the meeting, we'll find out what we were able to put in there. So have at it. And meantime, let's see if there are any guests out there. Can I see a show of hands if anybody has one? I don't see anybody.
Laura Tippin says she has one.
Okay, Laura, you want to introduce your guest, please?
Yeah, I would love to. Past President Ron and fellow Rotarians, I would like to introduce South Salem High School's Student of the Month for the category of Math and Science. Brinsley Hammond Brower completed our International Baccalaureate Physics offerings and our IB Math progression as a junior last year. So she's actually taking multivariable calculus this year at Willamette, and my understanding is she just earned an A, which is not surprising. In the past, pre-COVID, she has led coding and robotics classes for younger students. She's really well-rounded though. She's been doing ballet for about 5 years. She's the leader of our Gay Straight Alliance. She's a member of our National Honor Society and our National French Honor Society. She's also involved in our community. She serves on the Teen Advisory Board at the Public Library. And not surprisingly, she is on track to be one of our valedictorians and an International Baccalaureate Diploma recipient. And one of her passions is leading our environmental club, where she is a conscientious and focused environmental advocate. She's enthusiastic, she's well-versed in the issues that must be tackled to create a planet that we can all steward into the future. So I feel incredibly lucky to be able to call her a Saxon, and please welcome Brinsley Hammond Brower.
Welcome. Are you prepared to give a short talk today, or is that next week?
I am very prepared.
Okay, have at it.
Perfect. Okay. Hi guys. First, I'd like to say thank you so much for naming me Student of the Month, and obviously for all the work you've done in the community. I'm an International Baccalaureate Diploma candidate, as Mrs. Tippin said, at South Salem High School, and I've been interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, for basically as long as I can remember. I got a year ahead in math during middle school, and then I took an extra math course over the summer, which allowed me to finish the IB higher level math offerings last year and take multivariable calculus at Willamette this semester. I've also taken 2 years each of IB physics and IB environmental systems, both of which I loved. Outside of school, I've been very involved with computer programming, both participating in events and finding ways to teach others. I'm proficient in 5+ coding languages, and I love how programming makes me think differently about small-scale and large-scale problems. I've competed in group challenges like the George Fox programming competition, and I've received an award for excellence in computing from NCWIT, which is the National Center for Women in Information Technology, for the last 3 years. I love teaching as well, and I've been a part of at least 8, although I've kind of lost count, volunteer programs to teach coding to other kids. I'm very passionate about the environment as well. I'm currently president of the Environmental Club at South, and I've been studying sustainability for years and years. For my IB environmental class last year, I designed an experiment and wrote a 2,200 word research paper on sustainability in agriculture. And for my extended essay, which is a 4,000 word project to qualify for the IB diploma, I focused on urban agriculture, which is one of my specific interests. This is one example of the intersections between engineering and sustainability, which are fascinating to me. My overarching goal for the future is to be able to improve human infrastructure to lessen our impact on natural systems, and I plan to do this by becoming a civil engineer. This job appeals to me because I'm very interested, obviously, in both math and science, and I want to be able to work on different projects and think outside the box. And civil engineering will enable me to improve the lives of humans while also supporting the environment. It will also allow me to integrate coding using virtual mapping systems, which I've studied a little and I'm excited to continue. Someday, I would also like to be a teacher in some STEM field. Like I mentioned before, I love to teach, and I think that I could make a big difference as a female STEM. So thank you so much for awarding me with your distinction.
Thank you, Brinsley. Let's all give her a virtual round of applause. Pretty amazing young woman, and our future is bright. People like you coming up. So we wish you all the best, and thank you for joining us today. Sorry, we can't feed you a real traditional Rotary meal. Okay, at this point, before we get into announcements, let's have bell ringers. And Larry Gray, did we find a substitute for Allison?
Yes,
Larry,
yes, past President Ron. I am the substitute, much to the disappointment of many. I'll do my best, though.
okay.
With that introduction, here we go. First bell ringer, Dawn Bostwick. If we were in the convention center, we would ask Dawn to stand. So Dawn, just wave. Dawn Bostwick is ringing the bell for the Rotary Club of Salem's extremely generous members who donated to the Tree of Joy project this year. In spite of a challenging year for everyone, this is the best year the Tree of Joy project has had since I have been involved, Dawn says. We were able to give more to the children this year, and we also helped the Oregon State Hospital fill a few more of their gift tags as their patient numbers are increasing. Thank you, friends, for always serving where there is a need. Ring the bell for Dawn Bostwick and the Tree of Joy project.
Oops. Well, you get the idea.
Thank you, Ron. Allison Kelly is not able to be with us today, but she sent in a couple of bell ringers. Allison is offering a bell ringer in honor of her fellow bell ringing partners on the committee. She was supposed to do bell ringers today, but was taken offline unexpectedly. Thank you so much for your support and for filling in, Allison says. Acting President Ron, please ring the bell, whatever you have resembling a bell.
Anybody hear that? Okay.
Drunk.
Well, you know, maybe I should put wine in it. It would work better.
Allison Kelly also writes, I am so inspired by all of you as Rotarians. You give so generously to support our community. I would like to invite you to remember Liberty House in your holiday giving. We are in the middle of our Season of Hope campaign. This year is incredibly special because of a matching challenge from the Maybelle Clark McDonald Foundation. Your gifts of $250, $500, $1,000, or $2,500 will be matched dollar for dollar up to $30,000. As of today, we have raised $12,050. If you are able, please help us meet our goal. We are already in the middle of a surge in referrals, and your generosity will help us meet the needs of children who need our services. Thank you. Acting President Ron, please ring the bell. Richard Pine, I saw you on, Richard, so wave your hand. Richard Pine is ringing the bell for Evergreen Charitable Trust. Evergreen trustees voted to make special distributions this year, even in a small way, to organizations to offset the negative impacts of COVID-19. These special distributions, along with normal annual November distributions, totaled just over $9,000. Thanks to the generosity of its donors, Evergreen is closing in on $2.5 million of distributions over its corporate history. Congratulations, Richard. Acting President Ron, please ring the bell for Evergreen Charitable Trust's donations for COVID-19. Richard is also ringing the bell announcing that Evergreen Charitable Trust is sponsoring Willamette Heritage Center's virtual Magic at the Mill, which goes live November 19th. Until the 19th, Willamette Heritage Center is providing daily fun family activities and stories about local traditions as they count down to magic. See the Willamette Heritage Center website for the countdown and virtual magic. Ring the bell for Evergreen Charitable Trust and Willamette Heritage Center's Magic at the Mill. Now, President Ron, if there's time, is there time to ask for bell ringers from the floor?
Yes, there is. And I'll start off with one that I had sent to Allison, and her email bounced back to me about an hour and a half ago. So she must really be offline. I'd like to ring the bell for the following new Rotarians. If you can raise your hand when I mention your name, I'd appreciate it. That's Kelsey Baldy. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Laura Foley, Stephen Godo, who was a transfer, Cameron Hunt, Kathy McInnes, Bo Nylene, who rejoined us, Trevor Phillips, Julie Robertson, and David Suter. I'm ringing the bell because as new members, you have demonstrated persistence and patience and stick with us, and you've stuck with us. And when you haven't had the opportunities to make connections and bond with us during our lunches and fundraisers and other activities. So hang on there, life will get better and you will get to experience the true Rotary experience of friendship, fellowship. Thank you for hanging with us, new Rotarians.
Thank you, President Ron, and thank you for ringing the bell and for reading it. We have bell ringers in the chat room. You don't have to enter them there. Maybe Jessica and Ron can help us.
Yeah, Cindy Lysar would like to give one.
I'm sorry? Say who?
Cindy?
Cindy, yeah. Cindy Lysar, please.
Hi, Larry. Hi, everybody. Past President Ron. I would like to ring the bell for Salem Health's investment in our local restaurant community. It was announced today by our president, Cheryl Nestor, that 5 units within our hospital are receiving $10,000 apiece to invest and buy food from local restaurateurs through the season. So I would like to ring the bell for Salem's investment in our first responders and caring for those people that are taking care of us and our health, as well as Salem Health's investment in our restaurant community.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you very much. I also see, Jessica, that past President Russ McCracken has a bell ringer. Russ, would you like me to read it or would you want to speak for yourself? All right, Russ is ringing the bell to say that his December Rotary lunch budget is now a $56 bell ringer. Thank you, Russ, for providing that model. Any other bell ringers?
Warren has one.
Warren Bednars.
Thank you. I'd like to do a double bell ringer. After spending a month in our RV as our house got remodeled, the floors got refinished, the walls got repainted and such, we are finally back in our home. That's the first bell ringer. The second bell ringer is respect to living in an RV. I can't imagine being homeless, going through, say, 6 to 10 gallons of propane a week if you even can afford that. Our RV got quite moldy on the inside from the condensation. And yes, we did have heat, we had internet, but I couldn't imagine doing this as a homeless person. So that's my second bell ringer. I praise those people who are living that way, that they find better ways to live.
Larry, you're muted.
Thank you, Past President Ron. You ring the bell twice, please. And thank you, Warren. Thank you very much. Any other bell ringers from the floor? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, President Ron, back to you.
Thank you, Larry. Want to remind you for the link for the Kettle Drive is still in the chat. If you don't see it right at the end, scroll up and there are at least 2 or 3 times when the link has been posted. Our goal is $10,000 today, so let's chip in and see what we can do. There's a lot of need out there. Okay, time for announcements, and I would think maybe, well, I know Teresa Lulay has one. She wants everybody to wear their ugly Christmas sweater at next week's meeting. And my challenge to all of you is if you've watched Jimmy Kimmel lately, he's been doing the 12 days of Christmas with ugly sweaters, and it's been hilarious. So hopefully we can outdo what we've seen on that show. Let's see, Ryan, do you want to mention anything about our fundraiser next year? Or anybody else? Or Beth Rhodes, do you want to have anything to say about the fundraiser? Well, not hearing anything, just remember we're going to have a series of separate social events in the last weekend in May and the first in June, hosted at a variety of Rotarian homes. So if you're interested, contact Beth or Ryan. Any other announcements? Okay, well, let's turn the program over to past President Tammy, who will introduce Holly Berry with our Gold Star Report.
Past President Ron, with your indulgence, may I present the second reading of the nominating slate?
Oh, yes, that's right. How could I forget?
Okay.
That's why your name was there.
You crack me up. Okay.
Well,
so,
you know what? I never opened up the meetings with a joke because I figured the joke was always me when I was at the podium,
right.
And it was.
You notice I really didn't go down that path either because I couldn't really carry the day. So I tried a couple of cow jokes. They fell flat. So they were an utter disaster. There you go. How's that? My name is Tammy Denny. I am your immediate past president, and in this role, it is my honor to serve as the chair of the nominating committee. And in so doing, last week we presented the first reading of the slate of nominees for next year's board and our leadership. And today is the second official reading. This is in compliance with our bylaws. So the nominating slate, the slate that we had presented last week, was previously read and approved by the board of directors in November. And I want to be sure that everyone understands that next week we will present the slate for your vote. Today is a second reading, as I mentioned. And so now for the action of this presentation. For the Rotary year beginning July 2021, the following are the nominating committee's recommendations for directors and officers. And Jessica, I don't know if you can find folks if they are with us today, so you can maybe highlight their faces as I read their name, but perhaps you can try. We'll see how it goes. For the Salem Rotary Foundation, also outlined in the bylaws of the Salem Rotary Foundation, it is the responsibility of the SRF board to present to the full membership of Rotary their recommendations for board positions. The SRF board is therefore nominating both Linda Wooters and Jane Downing for their second 3-year terms. For Rotary Club of Salem Board of Directors, officers for the Rotary Club of Salem are recommended to be at our very wonderful Holly Berry, who she is our program today. You'll hear from her in just a little bit, and our treasurer, Chuck Swank. So thank you both. You are the cornerstones of this Rotary Club as we all navigate as volunteers week to week and year to year. You provide that continuity. So thank you both sincerely on behalf of all of the members. Our president, beginning July 2021, as many of you know, Steve Horning had previously accepted this role, but because of other challenges, he is unable to proceed. So Shane Griggs, who was on the slate by the nominating committee to step in as our PE, has been accelerated. So Jane, thank you for saying yes. I know it, I speak for everyone in the club with a sincere appreciation for your willingness to step in early. So thank you very much. And then of course, past President Sue Bloom. And I'm sure she's looking forward to being on the other side of her responsibilities as past president, because no one wants to be the pandemic president. Not so much fun. And we miss you. Board members, membership, Neil Henning for a 3-year term. Fundraising, Cindy Linesar, also for a 3-year term. New Generations, Jen Columbus for a 3-year term. World Community Service, David Deckelman for the remainder of his term, for a full term. And to serve as our president-elect, PE and he will be our president in 2022-2023, is David Deckelman. Thank you, David, for saying yes to this auspicious role. We appreciate you. And thank you very much on behalf of the club. Thank you, each and every one of you who was willing to say yes. And as I indicated, next week will be the final action on the slate for your vote. So I am required by our bylaws to ask if there are any nominations from the floor. So please raise your hand, use the raise hand feature or the chat room. And Jessica can help me monitor that. We did call for nominations last week. We received none, but in keeping with our bylaws, we are calling for nominations at this meeting. Are there any?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay. You would be a very brave soul if you offered a name, but that's okay. That's part of our bylaws and we want to be transparent and inclusive. So hearing none, thank you. And I will be back next week to present this slate one last time with the balance of the names of the full board, and we will have a vote. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your service.
Thank you, Tammy. And thanks to all of you who have agreed to serve. You get much more out of it than you ever put into it. I know for me, it was probably one of the best years of my life. But I gotta say, one of the nice adjectives to have in front of a title is the word past. But anyway, enjoy it. It'll be fun. It'll go very quickly. So now, unless I have messed anything up further, it's time for our program with Holly Berry doing our annual Gold Star Report, which was also a tradition we started in 2008. Holly. And I think somebody else was going, oh, and President Tammy, you were going to introduce me. How about it?
That's okay, no worries.
So this is your third or fourth follow up and joke and laugh and chuckle and yuck yuck for the days. So
we're nothing if we're nothing if we're not flexible. Don't worry, okay. Don't worry. Right. Just as an aside, I had to tell my staff about Gumby and Pokey about being flexible, and there was a generation gap. She didn't even know who Gumby and Pokey were, so I had to share that with her. Along the lines of being flexible, we come to you today through our wonderful, amazing secretary who is the glue of this organization, who keeps us on the straight and narrow and makes all of the reports to DACDB on our behalf and helps us understand how to use DACDB on our smartphones or our devices so that we can record our own makeup, so that we can be self-sustaining. But when we do have a problem, she is the go-to person. She has all knowledge when it comes to the DACDB program. She is an amazing individual. She has a love and a zest for life. If you are a new member and you haven't had an opportunity to get to know our secretary, Holly Berry, she is a delight, and she will keep you on your toes and absolutely be a joy in your life. So reach out to her, get to know her as we do come back together. She does not disappoint. As a new member, I've only been in this club going on perfect attendance 5 years. And when I was introduced by my sponsor, John McCauley, Holly Berry was the first person that I met. And she assisted in walking me through my application process and helped me navigate Rotary. For our new members who we haven't had a chance to visit with you in person much, as was indicated in the bell ringers, Holly is your person. So don't hesitate to reach out to her. She is an amazing individual. And without further ado, I present to you Holly Berry, who is going to give us the Gold Star report. That is a rear view, in the rear view for the past year, and gives us that sense of place and purpose as to why we do what we do. So Holly, it's all yours, my friend.
Oh, well, it's a delight. Every year I look forward to putting this together and presenting. Some years are easier than others, and I don't think I've had too many that there hasn't been some kind of problem in. So my goal is to not get good at Zoom presentations, because I fully intend that we get back together by next year. So I'm gonna, this is a first time for me, so I'm gonna work at sharing my screen.
You're gonna do great.
Yeah, okay, where, oh, boogers. Files, no. Okay, keep talking amongst yourselves.
Holly, send it to Jessica and she'll share screen for you.
I did.
Okay.
It's there. I thought I was all lined up and ready to go.
Full confidence in you, Holly.
Holly, some of us past presenters feel your pain.
Is that? I have it open, Jessica, but I don't see it on my option.
You click the share screen button.
Did I what?
Click the share screen button.
Yep.
And then there should be, is it on your desktop?
Well, that's what I'm not seeing, is a desktop option.
It,
we even went through this morning. Oh, there it is, desktop. No.
It's in one of the squares. There it is.
There.
Yay. Oops. Do you see it?
No, you'll do it again.
How about that?
No.
I see it.
Try again.
Share. So this is going along the lines of my typical experiences with putting this thing together. I get it together, but then share screen. Oh, there we go. There we go. Share. Now?
There.
Yes.
Okay. Now?
Yes, great.
All right, finally, and I apologize. This is, as Tammy mentioned, a report from July 1st, 2019, that should be 2019, not 2109. See, another problem. Oh, well. One of these days, you'll decide that somebody else needs to do this. So your leadership at that time, Tammy Denny was president, Steve Horning, Chuck and I filled out the first part of the board, and then club ops, you can see Kelly, Robin, Brenna, Justin, Ryan, Farah, Claudia, David. It was a dynamic group and one that got a lot of work done. So a little bit about the Salem Rotary Club. We are the second largest in District 5100, which goes from Vancouver, Washington out to Pendleton and beyond. It used to, I think, include even Ontario, and then just down here to Salem. So we are the second largest, just behind Portland. We had a high membership of 189 that year. We ended the year on June 30, we usually lose people just because of work or change of life or finances or whatever. We ended the year with 175, with 2 honorary members who are people, Jerry Frank and Blaine Kuhn, who were longtime members and now are in an honorary position. We had 13 corporate and 22 rule of 85, which means they're the members' age and years in Rotary equal 85 or greater, and then 140 active people. We give. That's the one thing I think we can lay claim to. We give money, we give time, we give gifts, we give blood. The only thing we haven't been requested yet has been firstborns, but I wouldn't be surprised if sometime that comes along the line. So all you youngins out there, be careful. Keep Keep hold of your firstborns. We are above service above self. We take part in holiday giving, and what a delight to hear that this year we have given more to the Tree of Joy than ever before. We have hands-on projects. Those hands-on projects have come about really formally in the last couple of years. We realize that not everybody has money to give all the time. And so if you don't, and you have time that you can donate or skills that you can donate, we have a committee, and all you have to do is get your name on that committee. Just tell me and I'll put you on there. You'll get notices from Adam Kohler of what projects are coming up. You get signed up, and they keep track of things like people, number of people, number of hours. We give a lot at Good Works fundraising. Last year was one of our best years we've ever had. We give to our Rotary International Foundation, such as the Paul Harris Fund. We set a goal every year, and so far every year we have met it. And we also are giving from the funds we get from our Good Works fundraising. We have a chunk of money then that goes to the International Committee, and that keeps us active throughout the world. In our Good Works fundraising, $113,000 this year. We supported the major project. This was the third year for that project, and that was our Centennial Amphitheater endeavor. The other money supports club committee operations. So if you have a committee that you have a budget, that's where it comes from. It supports board operations, so postage and all that kind of stuff that the board needs to operate, and special projects. We just completed one this last month. A Rotary club in Camas had dedicated some energy to the fires in the canyon, and they asked us if we wouldn't mind helping buy some small beverage refrigerators, which we did. So special projects. Our Good Work project, as I was putting this thing together, I just was taken aback by everything that has transpired, and in a relative short amount of time. And I don't mean to demean our efforts with our foundation, but it took us years to reach a $1 million level. We have reached almost 4 million in what, 3 or 4 years. So the amount of energy that has gone into this has just been phenomenal. So this is the rendition. This is one view that you will be able to see the vista of the park and other amenities there. I have the great fortune of being able to fly around every now and then from someone I know who's a pilot. On July 30th, we flew over this project, and it was dirt. That was it, pretty much. You can see where they've got some outlines there for walkways and a couple of the support areas dug out, but there wasn't a whole lot to look at. We flew over on November 2nd, and you can see they've got all the concrete work done, all the new addition to the parking lot. The berm has been built and landscaped, and all 4 of those support areas have been dug out. December 4th, they've got now they had all the rebar, which came pre-bent, numbered. It was just like a big puzzle where everything went together. And I'm guessing they didn't miss out on a single piece. So that's where they were on December 4th. One part of the project has been identifying some significance for Rotarians, and there was discussion about putting the 4-way test on these supports, but what they came down with was picking out some significant words within that 4-way test. And now, last Friday, they were pouring cement on one of those big stanchions, so those big supports, and you can see where the word has been inserted now. So the other 3 words will go into those other supports. I have to say, when we first got going with this thing, and it was announced that we had $4 million to raise, I kind of felt deflated, like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? But I think we have had some stellar leadership in the way of Barry and Ken and Russ, and Renee and Claudia and Tim and so many others that and Dale Penn, that things just would not have happened had that big base of energy and commitment and enthusiasm not been in place. I think there is maybe a spoken or an unspoken goal that maybe the club could reach a donation of $1 million. We're not far off from that. So if you haven't given yet and you need some donation or some deductibility in your taxes this year, consider putting it a little bit more to the amphitheater project. But you can see that we've had more than $1 million from non-Rotary Club of Salem people, $1 million from the state, 500,000 plus in grants, and then a significant amount in in-kind donations. So this has just been such an amazing project, and to see the transformation of that riverfront park. If you haven't been down there yet, you need to start looking into it and just checking out the whole project. I saw a videotape produced by Dulkey. So this is not only a big deal for us, a big deal for the city, but it's a big deal for that construction company too. They've not done anything like this before, and they have the whole thing on video, on stills. So they're capturing every step along the way, and that's what's really fun to watch. Our holiday giving, last year we had those 60 gifts for the Oregon State Hospital and about 350 gifts for children. So that amount to about $9,000 in cash and gifts. So Dawn, I'm looking forward to your new amount for next year when we do this again. We ring the bell for Salvation Army. That was one of those well, not in kind, but a volunteer opportunity. So 20 club members rang the bell outside Coles Skybridge. Now the value of that time is about $600 of volunteer time. Now, during our meeting last year, Ron said that during his meeting, we did raise $7,000, but this last year, $4,300. So let's see what we can get done this year. International service, where in the world have we been during lockdown? Well, most of us have been at home, but the Rotary Club of Salem has stretched its influence around the world, even in spite of COVID. So some of our international projects have taken us to Kenya, to Ghana, to Nepal, Uganda, Guatemala, Haiti, Tanzania. And the fun thing about these international projects is the inclusion or the birthing by our own Rotary members. So if you remember the well and latrine project in Haiti for several years, that was brought on by Cynthia Witham. And we can see that the Ghana Women's Farmer project came along because of Marilyn Schuster, and the Guatemala Literacy Project by Pat Force. Those are members. So if you have contacts around the world and you see a need somewhere, all you need to do is bring it to that committee. And Howard Bauman is just a force when it comes to his grant writing. And we have had such success with the whole effort. So kudos to us for that. When it comes to the Salem Rotary Foundation, this year the club gave to the foundation for the amphitheater $92,000 for that third year. But the foundation, based on some of the money that we raise, also awards small grants in the way to nonprofits, many of whom we heard from in September. So that's the so what of everything. And we even give the $2,000 to the Chemeketa Community College Foundation for the Duval Scholarship. So this is where we raise all the money and we say, well, so what? We've got money, but we turn around and do stuff with it. We send it to around the world. We send it throughout town. We do our major projects. So 2 or 3 years ago, the Rotary International president wanted the Rotary member involvement in the community documented. So we are now keeping track of how many hours and then we're able to quantify that by putting a value per hour. So like I said, the Army bell ringers, Salvation Army bell ringers amounted to about $600. The blood drive, we have 61 members about donating that time, or members and their family members. So you can see more than $1,700 worth of time. And then our hands-on project, 163 Rotary volunteers. Some of us were repeats, but we donated almost 5,000 hours last year, to the tune of $7,000 plus, coming to a total of more than $10,000. Those are a whole lot of so what's in there. We helped nonprofits. Well, the most recent one we did, and that will reflect in next year's time, was spreading gravel at Deepwood. We went in and spread 3 yards of gravel in like 45 minutes, and the city people were stunned and amazed at the turnout. So we are a force to be reckoned with. So when it comes to the actual money raised, the Tree of Joy, Salvation Army, Major Fundraiser, Rotary International, the bell ringers, just the bell ringers alone, your $20 every week or every whenever, $12,500. Anyway, that whole thing totals $191,000, and when you put the in-kind in there, we were reaching $200,000 in last year, which is one of the most phenomenal years I've ever experienced. And I mean that in a good way, but also in a, what the hey happened? We weren't able to meet. We weren't able to really interact, and we probably could have done more had that happened, or who knows, maybe we wouldn't have done as much. But I think this was coined back in Ron's year as president. We are the club that gets things done. And I think that Tammy, we owe her a debt of gratitude for getting the ball rolling on these Zoom meetings. We have had stellar programs put on or arranged for by the program committee. And we have had, in some cases, lesser attendance for this, but sorry, I seem to be having a problem here. So I'll stop sharing. Anyway, if we hadn't been for Tammy and we hadn't gotten on these Zoom calls, we could have very easily fallen completely apart. But the good news is that next year there will be things to report on, and we will have a great success in spite of the huge obstacles that were put in our way this year. So there you go.
Thank you, Tammy.
Excuse me, I'm Holly.
Oh, Holly. All right, that's number 4 or 5 today. I'm on a roll.
We're synonymous, right, Holly?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Interchangeable.
Cheers.
Do we have any questions for Holly? Okay, Holly, thank you so much. And as with all of our other speakers, we will make a donation in your name to our own Salem Rotary Foundation, which you probably know better than anyone else, does very good works in this community. It's pretty impressive Gold Star report, and thanks to all of you Rotarians who have made some sort of a contribution into those amazing accomplishments. And speaking of accomplishments, Laura, do you have any kind of a number for us yet on what we've done with our kettle drive today?
Yes, we are at $2,664.
Good. And Chuck informed me that by check, he had already had about 2,000 and change in checks that he had received.
Oh my goodness.
So that puts us over the 4,000 mark. Can we leave this open for the rest of the week? And then maybe next week, we'll give Sue the pleasure of reporting the total, because maybe not everybody multitasks and donates while we're watching.
Right. Of course, yeah. We will leave that link open, and also if you feel more comfortable doing it by mail or anything, as long as you write in your subject line that it's for the Salem Rotary Kettle, we will be able to add that to the total.
Great. Thank you, and thanks to all that donated today. Okay, next week we're going to have a fellowship, and those are always fun. And like Teresa Lulay asked, please wear an ugly Christmas sweater if you have one. And with that, we're adjourned.